You know, there's something bigger than the border between Canada and the United States. Something that binds our lands together better than any international boundary ever could. I'm on a journey to explore that essential element, Aboriginal people. And so I'm using the border as a guide to meet as many fascinating people in as many interesting places as I can. This is about our history, our culture, and our future. Because for me, the border is not a boundary. It's something completely different. And I call it the medicine line. I'm driving as far south as I'll ever go in my journey, way past the Canadian-United States border and right down to where Texas meets Mexico. Far out. I'm on the Peyote Trail, following the story of peyote and its use in First Nations ceremony in the United States and all the way up into Canada. This is something I have no idea about. To me, peyote is an illegal hallucinogenic drug that druggies take. Not First Nations people, but I need to know more.
Claro que sí.
For those who have never been to Laredo, Texas before, man, let me tell you, it's super dry and really hot. How I'd kind of imagine like Mars to be. But only in this part of the world is it perfect conditions for the peyote plant to grow.
I'm just outside of Laredo, Texas, to visit a peyotero. That's more commonly known as a peyote harvester. I want to know what's involved in the gathering of this ancient medicine. It's certainly hard to find, and it's always controversial.
Peyote is a strange cactus that got put here in this earth, and for a certain reason, it has helped so many people. My name is Salvador Johnson. I'm a peyote distributor, and I possess state license and federal license to sell peyote to the native people. This is the only religion that is regulated by the United States government. You have different sizes of peyote. You have singles, you have doubles, you have 5, you have as many, I think, as 40, 50 to a cluster. You know, this cluster being here only 6 months, and this small one's here. Look at that. You see all those small ones that are growing from the clusters.
The majority of the harvest is done over 100 acres of land, which Salvador leases in South Texas. Harvesting peyote is a delicate process. There's a real ecological balance to what he does. Like one wrong slip, and you can take out a plant that's like over 200 years old.
You see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and one big one. You try to cut right there. You try to save those small ones. Try to save as many small ones as possible.
You don't cut the small ones at all?
No. You get your mature buttons and leave those so that next year you'll have some again. So you always have something, always. You can't grow it or cultivate it. It's impossible. The only thing you can do is try to cut it to the best of your knowledge. So this is what we work with. And can you imagine cutting something that is so old in time?
First Nations people have been using peyote for thousands of years. During the Spanish Inquisition in 1620, peyote was outlawed. And in fact, they called it diabolic. And whoever used it was executed. Wow, that's harsh. But then, in 1970, it became legal for Native Americans to use it in religious ceremony. Unfortunately, those freaky people seeking a buzz from the cactus's hallucinogenic qualities have pushed this poor plant from its natural development to near extinction.
I've had people say we are short of peyote. We will run out of peyote in 10 years and 100 years, and it's impossible. You see, most of the peyote gets covered by most of the leaves, so you have a hard time seeing it. So who uncovers it? The man upstairs. He was out the rain, washes it up, expose it, then we're able to see it, well, then we're able to cut it. That's the magic. The only person in reality that has control of all this peyote is the man upstairs. God will only give you what he wants. It's a very mysterious plant, and a lot of it will never be answered, you know, and the native people showed me a lot of things, you know, and I think that it's something that I believe that is needed for them to get close to God himself.
Now that I know where peyote comes from and how it's harvested, I really want to meet the people who put it to use. For that, I'm on my way to Peyote, Kansas, following the Peyote Trail. Some say peyote is a journey. And so far, that statement is spot on the mark for me. I've traveled all the way down to the US-Mexico border, and now I'm headed toward Peyote, Kansas. I'm hoping to uncover how this spineless cactus plant is used in religious ceremony, specifically with the Native American Church, whose members are from all over North America, including Canada. How I understand it, the Native American Church is a blend of Christianity and the Huichol religion. There are a lot of parallels in the two religions, but what binds them into one is the use of peyote. Its modern practice is credited largely to a man named Quanah Parker, who traveled from reservation to reservation teaching the religion in the early 1900s. And today, the church has over 250,000 members and is intertribal. Wow. And it just so happens I'm headed to meet with the president of the church itself.
This medicine, I would call it this Peyote, has been coming for centuries from our relatives from the south. It kind of made its way this way at a time in the United States where Indian nations were suppressed. The people that do not understand will always say, well, what are them Indians doing? Oh, you're getting high. They say those kind of things. It is not a drug. The Controlled Substance Act in the United States classifies it as Schedule I hallucinogenic. The government will not understand totally, the indigenous perspective. That's why we are where we are today. We want to bring back our spiritual, holistic wellness, and this medicine helps us to do that.
So peyote is misunderstood by most people, and I get that. But how does it fit into the religion of the Native American Church? Why do they take it during religious ceremony? Does it heal them in some way? It's powerful stuff, something that shouldn't be messed around with for recreational purposes. This is medicine, and this is sacred. Josh is a practicing NAC member who's also part of the local prairie band Potawatomi Reservation right here in Kansas. From his perspective, I can see how peyote not only helps people, but also heals them. If I was preparing for ceremony, what should I be doing?
Our belief is if you can, 4 days ahead of time, stay clean. Don't use drugs, don't use alcohol, and cleanse yourself, maybe take a sweat. So you be ready, have a pure mind and a pure heart like the water.
When you take the peyote, do you see clear? Like, is it clear to you?
When we eat that peyote, we believe that's the way you should naturally see life. But there's so many things that are going on in this world that are blocking our views. We got television, we got radio, we got drugs and alcohol, and it all clouds our minds so we don't see straight. And so when we eat that peyote, it purifies our mind, and so we could see clear, and we have a better perspective, a better outlook on life. We think what we're doing here is going to balance the world out. Our prayers are going to balance the world out.
It's that beautiful.
It's that beautiful.
It'll help me with my demons.
That peyote is that strong. I have demons myself. For me, I struggle every day with meth addiction, alcoholism, and I forget about wanting to drink alcohol. I forget about wanting to smoke meth when I'm in meetings. And that's the power of prayer, and that's the power of the peyote. Instead of having a party and drink, we'll go the other, we'll have a meeting, we'll pray.
I didn't see it like this. You've cleared this up about what this experience really is, because it's a journey, but it's an experience, right? This time when you're on it, where you can see clear, where you feel closer to whoever.
Yeah.
I've never.
All the same. We all pray the same person.
Wow. I not only see peyote differently, but everything else around here is different as well. The people who practice healing with peyote are concerned not only with their own problems, but also with the problems of others. I needed to know more to see how peyote ties into the ceremony itself, and for that, I'll have to go to Canada. I'm headed down what's called the Peyote Trail, following the use of peyote in native ceremony. This takes me to Sturgeon Lake First Nation in northern Saskatchewan. This is where Kelly Daniels and his family live. Kelly's official title is Roadman. He has the dubious task of traveling as far south as I did, to Laredo, Texas, and transporting the medicine back across the border. He is also a key member of the peyote ceremony.
Hi, how are ya?
Oh, David.
Good to see ya.
Good to see you too. Welcome to Sturgeon. We're getting ready to set up a teepee here.
Can I watch?
Sure, come on over.
Wow, cool. Ooh, you got it all spread out.
As soon as I get there, they begin building a teepee for an upcoming ceremony, making sure everything is just right. And I couldn't wait to pitch in and help.
This peyote brings us together in friendship and understanding. This medicine brings things to life. If it's a loss of language, if it's a loss of a ceremony, if it's a loss of a way of life, this medicine brings that back. It's almost like the Great Spirit created this medicine for us to hang on to what little ceremonies and ways of life that we have today. So I'm very thankful for this peyote.
Peyote, the medicine, the holy medicine, to me, it's to save our spirit. They call it ahchak in our language, the Cree language. These ceremonies, they'll give us a good mind and a good heart and a healthy body. And in that way, our spirit is healthy. Through the Native American church ceremonies, our old folks, they came around to their ceremony. When they heard the prayers again and the songs, those old folks, they went back to their home fires and they started building different lodges of our ceremonies that were left behind. So they kind of revived our ceremonial ways. The sun dance, the chicken dance, the ghost dance, the horse dance, the sweat lodge.
Peyote reaches deep into people's spirituality around here, so it's no wonder that it moves some to create art. I wanted to meet one of these artists and understand how his work comes together.
Tell me about the art that you create for ceremony.
I use florals. I believe they're goose feathers. Then they dye them. So I place everything on them. Then I use threadwork too to design to make nice colors. Then our people always use white buckhide when they made something nice, or a way of expressing themselves to the Creator.
So exactly how do you use it in ceremony?
Their function is to bless the children or whom that might be sick, they use the feathers here. It purifies the individual that they're praying for and then they're singing for. A lot of them use them for songs too. They carry them because they're praying along with that song and they're expressing themselves to the Creator. You try to make it as beautiful as you could. You want to express yourself in the most beautiful way as possible towards God.
Because it's such a sacred ceremony, no cameras are allowed. But Kelly and the others wanted me to experience aspects of the ceremony that could be filmed, just to get a sense of what goes on.
We say maskiki as part of that. It's the holy medicine. Our elders tell us that of all the medicines there are in this world, what the Creator did is He took all those powers to be, the goodness within that medicine, within those medicines, and He put them all as one into this medicine we call peyote. So then when we ingest that, we take that holiness, it becomes part of us. It works in the mind, it works within the spirit. It's a medium where you meditate and somehow you find those answers that help you decide what's good and what's bad as part of your life.
Can you take me through the ceremony?
Once you purify your mind and your heart, then you go out and then you get the right kind of wood that the smoke doesn't do anything to you. And then from there you get the right kind of altar. You invite the roadman. The roadman, we call him, is the person that's running the whole ceremony. Then you have the ceremonial fire, which is lit by a flint rock. You take this tobacco, you put it in a fire, and you ask the Great Spirit to forgive you from all the sins. Once you're purified from sin through the fire, then they'll put the medicine out. When you're going to eat that medicine, you pray. You ask God to bless you. Then the singing portion follows.
A lot of our songs, when you're in unison, you're unifying your voice, lifting those prayers, lifting those thoughts, lifting those motions that you made throughout the night to carry up to the heavens, so that somehow, somewhere down the road, that there's going to be prayers answered back to what you were asking for. Those songs that we've sang over the years, they're just not chants. There's words that are inclusive of those songs that are praying to the Creator, giving thanks to this medicine. So those are the songs that bring us together, to make us understand how powerful this medicine is.
There's ceremonial songs that have to be sung. So that will take place all through the night. At the same time, we continue to eat the medicine. As the sun is coming up, when the very first light comes into the teepee, they say, God, our Great Spirit, bestowing His love inside us. It's like answering our prayers. We don't want this peyote to be used as a recreational drug. It's God's love in that medicine. God bestowed His love in there. So when we take this medicine, we're touched by the Great Spirit. We wish that could touch people in their communities, the people that are out there. That's why I'm here, sitting here, to talk about this wonderful medicine.
Maskihki, wiek semantu, kuhtauinok semantu igi utaski igi ahat igiusihat maskihia. Aya samu tsaya ka igi wansi higai sinog. Igoye ka kuhtauinok iktumagnaga. Kauin tönga kambaga gis miga kauiksigis kais mamteneitama kis tia. Jo maskih kioma kamitsia maskih kioma. Ikanat skaguyak, ikanat sitat kimamtanitsaganno, mina ikanat imiutihiak, mina imiagioyak. Nagtahtsahko noon, egoiskana kitsnat tahtsahko noon, kakuye paspihayak. Igay kakwatagi tahtsahko no. Spi nagatamaho maski, spuatsahkuyak, katawagam miskano. Spuatsahkuyak, igochamba kamiasik maski kie, ikanachigwa. Kamio isiniuya. Kamio itama kutai migo isiniuya. Nek nuiska isiniuya. Igochamba kamiasik maski ki niu toche.
My journey to understand peyote and its central role to the spirituality of the Native American church has changed me. You know, I've never been a spiritual man, but wow, just think. I started my journey way down in Laredo, Texas, where it was scorching hot, and I ended up way up north, where it snows. And yet these two places are connected spiritually through something as simple and as natural as a plant. I wish I could have stayed for the ceremony, but more stories were pulling me along. So it was back on the road. As I pile on the miles behind me, I leave knowing I will return.